Before starting this video, I do want to give a thank you to my patrons that support the channel. And if you would like to support the channel, there are some great benefits for you in the link down below. So with that, let's get into today's video. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on Pub Stomp MTG. So this video, I'm going to go over the Indoraptor, the perfect hybrid. So this is from the second movie of the Jurassic World series, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And I personally actually enjoyed that film. I know a lot of people didn't like that. I mean, yeah, it does have its flaws, but overall, I do like the aspect of kind of mixing dinosaurs together because that's what Jurassic World and Jurassic Park is all about. It's not about dinosaurs necessarily because they're not dinosaurs in their truest form. They have all sorts of DNA mixed with them. Even in the first Jurassic Park movie, they had frog DNA mixed with them. So technically they're not true dinosaurs in their truest form because they would look a lot different. So they're kind of like a Frankenstein monster, and the Indoraptor is no exception to that. So what I do like about this commander, it is in Jund color. So for one, Golgari hybrid and also a red, it's a dinosaur mutant and also has Bloodthirst X. So basically Bloodthirst X is this creature enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it, where X is the damage dealt to your opponents this turn. It also does have Menace and an Enrage ability. Whenever it's dealt damage, choose an opponent at random. Indoraptor deals damage equal to its power to that player, unless they sacrifice a non-token creature. So this could be very powerful in a lot of different situations. So of course we're going to go into an Enrage theme, and also a little bit of a Fight Club theme, because the biggest reason why I feel like fight effects are perfect in this deck is because you could just have Indoraptor fight another target creature on the battlefield. It'll deal damage to Indoraptor, then because they don't have another creature on the battlefield because you fought it with the Indoraptor, you can just deal damage to that opponent's face, and on top of that, swing with the Indoraptor. So first up, I do want to talk about Enrage Support in the deck. Of course, we want to enrage our Indoraptor and other cards in the deck, so Spiteful Banditry will be excellent in the deck. We can control how much damage we're going to be dealing to each creature, and if creatures die during our turn or other turns, we'll be making treasure tokens. So if the one person wants to sacrifice a creature instead of getting that Indoraptor trigger, fine, that's completely okay because we'll just get a treasure token off of that. Another Enrage Support card I do want to talk about is Marauding Raptor, mainly because creature spells you cast will cost 1 less, so that's very important for a lot of creatures in this deck. Plus, it will deal 2 damage to any creature that enters the battlefield under our control, like the Indoraptor. So of course there's a lot of other Enrage cards in this deck, but I did want to focus on the Indoraptor specifically. Also on top of that, it gets buffed up for each dinosaur dealt damage this way. So this is an excellent card in the deck. I do also want to go into a fight theme, mainly because of course we want to have our dinosaurs get enraged, so ways we can do that is by using fight spells like Primal Might and also Kalini Ambush. I especially like Primal Might in this deck, mainly because we can control how big the Indoraptor is going to get when we fight a target creature. Plus, when that creature does deal damage to our Indoraptor, we can have that Enrage trigger go off, and if they don't have any creatures on the board, we can just deal damage randomly to another target player. And the more we do pump into Primal Might, the bigger our creature is going to get and the more damage we're going to deal to our opponents. So we have a lot of fight spells like these in the deck. We also do want consistent ways we could fight by using cards like Domri, Anarch of Bolas, and Ulvenwald Tracker. What I do like about Domri is the fact that he kind of acts as an anthem for our creatures by giving them +1/+0. Also does act as a mana dork with that +1 ability, giving a red or a green mana, and our creature spell can't be countered. Plus, most importantly, we have that continuous effect by that -2 ability by having a creature we control fight another target creature we don't control. So yeah, this is going to be a very impactful card. Also with Ulvenwald Tracker, by paying 1 and a green by tapping him to have another creature you control fight another target creature. So this is obviously a very good staple in the deck. Aside from that, one more Enrage Support card I did want to mention, probably the best out of the bunch, is Forerunner of the Empire, mainly because it has that ability of searching for our dinosaur card and putting it on top of our library, and also having a dinosaur enter the battlefield under our control. We will deal 1 damage to each creature we control. Since we do have a lot of dinosaurs in our deck, this is going to enrage a lot of different creatures we do have on the battlefield quite a bit, so this is a very impactful card, no question about it. Aside from that, I do want to focus on a Powers Matters theme as well, because the Indoraptor focuses on that when it deals damage equal to its power to a player unless they sacrifice a non-token creature, so we can capitalize that by using cards like Nyleith of the Dire Hunt. It's a great card draw outlet. Whenever one or more creatures you control fight or become blocked, you draw a card, so we do have a lot of fight spells in this deck. Plus, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 2 and a green or a red if you do double target creature's power until end of turn, that creature must be blocked in this combat if able. So yeah, this is very good for specific reasons. Our Indoraptor will have to be blocked, and the bigger power it does have on the battlefield, the more we can deal damage to our opponents. Speaking of which, we have a constant way we could buff up our creatures by using Zapandra Hunger Dominus. It has the simple text at the beginning of each, and that's right, each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn, and it does have a way to give itself indestructible. So yeah, this is going to be a very good way where we could just buff up our Indoraptor even more than what it is, depending on how much Bloodthirst counters we do put on it. A very similar card I do want to mention to you is Xenagos, God of Rebels. It has that ability to give our creatures +X/+X until end of turn based off of its power, and also give that creature haste. So if the Indoraptor for some reason enters the battlefield with, let's just say, like 2 1/1 counters on it, it'll be a 5/3, and if we double the power and toughness of it, it'll become a 10/6, so this could be very powerful in the right type of situation too. I wanted to focus a little bit on Powers Matter. I do also want to focus on Enrage because we want to enrage a lot of dinosaurs we do have on the battlefield, like Ranging Raptors and Ripjaw Raptor. The Ranging Raptor, when it's dealt damage, you'll get a basic land and put it onto the battlefield. With Ripjaw Raptor, when it's dealt damage, you'll draw a card, so getting ramp and drawing cards is the best thing you can do in Magic, and getting those extra Enrage triggers will get the job done for you. Other Enrage cards I do want to talk about is Snapping Sailback and Urban Daggertooth. So for Snapping Sailback, I do like this card because it can enter the battlefield at flash speed, and when it's dealt damage, you put a 1/1 counter on it. But I will say Urban Daggertooth synergizes with the Indoraptor very well, mainly because it has that ability to proliferate when it's dealt damage. Let's just say, let's just go in a scenario where the Indoraptor has like a counter on it. The Urban Daggertooth was dealt damage, so you put another 1/1 counter on the Indoraptor because of the Enrage ability to proliferate the counter on it. And there are a lot of great effects where we could constantly deal damage to our dinosaurs, so the more damage we deal to Urban Daggertooth, the more we can proliferate on the Indoraptor to make it bigger. So those are very good suggestions. Another great suggestion from me to you is Silverclad Ferocidons for 5 and 2 red. When it's dealt damage, each opponent sacrifices a permanent. In some cases, people will probably get rid of their lands, some people might get rid of their artifacts, but if they do get rid of their creatures, they can leave the board open for us to swing in, and if our Indoraptor chooses that player randomly to deal damage to when it's enraged, that's just perfect. So the more we could enrage this card, the better, so that we could just get rid of the board so that we could go in for an easy victory. But one of the best cards we could enrage is easily Polyraptor. It has that ability of making an extra token that's a copy of itself, so each time it's dealt damage, you're probably going to get another token, then you're going to make 4 tokens, then you're going to make 8 tokens, then 16, and so on and so forth. So if you do have a haste enabler out on the board, this is going to be an easy win for you, having all those Polyraptor tokens on the battlefield. Speaking of winning the game, here's a little bit of a synergy you could use with the Indoraptor, because it has that ability when it's dealt damage, you can deal damage equal to its power to a player unless they sacrifice a non-token creature. So if you do use a card like Pyrohemia, you have that ability to pay a 1 red to deal 1 damage to each creature and each player. If the Indoraptor is small enough, you could possibly kill it, so a way you could prevent that is by using a card like Heroic Intervention or a card like that to give Indoraptor indestructible. So let's just go into a hypothetical situation where the Indoraptor is a 7/5, and that's pretty easy to do in this deck, by the way, making it have like 4 1/1 counters on it. Then let's just say you have 10 mana to put into that Pyrohemia effect by dealing 1 damage to each creature and each player. You can pay into that ability 10 times, dealing 1 damage to the Indoraptor each time, and cast Heroic Intervention before it does die so that you can give it indestructible. With that instance, Indoraptor will have 10 Enrage triggers on it. If your opponents don't have any creatures on the battlefield based off of Pyrohemia's effect by dealing 10 damage to each creature, the Indoraptor will have 10 triggers of dealing 7 damage to a random player each time, and possibly winning in that hypothetical situation. Again, I know that's a very odd and very specific hypothetical situation, but that's just the first thing I came up with. If you have a lot of power on the Indoraptor and you have Heroic Intervention with Pyrohemia, you're going to be doing a lot of damage to your opponents. However, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on the Indoraptor, the perfect hybrid. To me personally, this could be a very powerful Enrage commander. I mean, it has the Enrage ability itself, so I feel like overall, you're going to have a lot of Enrage support, so you might as well add in those Enrage dinosaurs in the deck. Overall, I really do like this design. Let me know down below in the comments, what do you think of this design of the Indoraptor? Do you feel like it's a good color combination being Jund? Because I feel like this is one of the better Jund commanders that I've seen in a while. Having that Bloodthirst ability to make it even bigger on the battlefield, and having Menace, that's very important because you can just swing it uncontested most of the times. And also having that Enrage ability is very powerful, especially in the right type of situations, by using cards like Pyrohemia. So with all that said, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and with that out of the way, thank you for stopping by.